Hi, folks. It's Jeff. I just yesterday, Andrea actually put a link to a kind of the words you need to avoid, the 15 words and phrases you need to avoid that are embarrassingly outdated. And number 12 of them in the list is thought leader. I'm going to read this out because I actually was going to do a video on this. I was thinking about this yesterday, so this is just the right timing. So number 12 of the words to avoid are thought leader, and the statement about this in this article was this ostensibly cool sounding term ultimately has no meaning. While it's supposed to describe those people who have such amazing ideas that other people follow them, leader itself seems fine. Thought leader comes across as a contrived, let's make up a new word that has more heft term. Um, and this is, like I said, this is perfect time because yesterday I was thinking I needed to make a video about thought leadership and what it is. And so I'm going to do it here. The word thought leader, I mean, I've seen this used for probably a lot for the past 7-10 years. Okay? And actually, we had this thing called the Thought Leadership Wiki, where basically going out, giving conference talks, and I converted that to an app, turned it into an app with a bunch of other things, apps that we're doing for internal purposes, kind of track work. And what I've been thinking about is, what is thought leadership? Uh, I see it so much used for just giving conference talks. Okay. But the real problem with conference talks, and go watch my other videos about kind of being visible in the language industry, and I kind of focus things on the language industry. It can appear to it can be the industry too, but I think it's really kind of the crux here in this language is people go to conferences and talk about projects and products and internal products. And there are actually a lot of people that go to conference talks to talk about their internal products, to say how they used them. And then there are people that go to conference talks and talk about their products, which is really not thought leadership. That's product marketing. Okay, that's called product marketing. You're selling your product. And for internal products, well, that's called internal product marketing. And what's even more interesting about that is you're talking about a product that no one else can use because it's an internal product. Whereas an external kind of third, an external product you can sell, other people can use it because that's the goal. They can use it. But if you have an internal product tool that you've done, then you're the only one that can use it. And so no one else can use it. So what's the thought leadership about that? Not very much. And if you're talking about projects, which kind of depend on the situation, let's start with complex. If you have really complex projects, if you go to a conference, then the only people that can actually relate to those complex projects are a very few handful of people. I mean, just a small handful of people. And so when you go to the conference, you're going to touch, you're going to reach basically, out of, let's say that you go to a language conference, 500 people, you might kind of get about 5 people out of that are in these big complex situations that are similar to yours. But it's not going to be really bringing about a thing that's going to affect the entire group of people. And that's what thought leadership is. I mean, thought leadership, and again, it depends on how you define this term. But for myself, if I'm going to go to a conference, and I've already said this in I'm not going to go, in fact, the whole thing visibility. I went on visibility, getting out of the language, the language industry visibility rut. And I said, I just stopped going to conferences and talking about the projects or the products that no one else can use or can repeat. Because, like in this, I talked about projects ago here. I mean, if no one else can replicate what you're doing, then what's the purpose of talking about it other than just saying you did something? Now, if it's just to go to the conference for you to be able to say that you went and talked about something, just so that you can kind of use that in your little, I don't know, kind of a notch on the total pole, da da da, or kind of French, we just kind of fill up our our sheath with arrows. You kind of just fill it up, and you got all these arrows you can count and stuff. And if you're doing it for that purpose, then that's for you. I mean, it's for your ability to get a promotion. It's not for the other people, which is thought leadership. Okay? Thought leadership is taking something and giving the ideas to others so that they can actually do something with it and be successful. But the majority of stuff that I see, or at least where it's used, the context where it's used is that you're going somewhere to talk about what you're doing, which doesn't always help a lot of people. And if they can't replicate it, or at least adapt it, and do something and adapt it. And if you're going there and then hoping, I mean, how many times literally have I? Well, actually, I haven't. I just stopped doing it. I remember going to conferences, years ago, and I would, show some things and stuff, but I couldn't give away the data because the data is confidential, which is what I gave one of the telecom. And I did a few in the telecom. I did one or two in the telecom, and I couldn't give the data away because this is really this is customer content, so I couldn't show the data away. So people say, "Oh, this is not true. You're not really doing it." So then what I did is I made a deal with Multilingual Magazine. I was actually on the board, editorial board at the time. And what I did was I just said, hey, I want to use all the press releases of Multilingual News. I want to use these to prove this point of that what can be done. And that was published content. And all I said is now I want to have multilingual versions of this published content with machine translation and show we can make a dictionary and stuff like that and all that. And we agreed that I just republishing the content again and republishing a target language version of it as well, and it worked out well. And there was no problem of people being able to say, hey, this is not replicable. Sorry. Because I gave away the content. Well, I said just go down and you go to these news items and download this content and just try it yourself and do it yourself. And I actually republished it in my Word document, the same stuff. It's all there. It's obvious what the dates were and all that stuff. And that allows others to be able to do it in other languages. And then, and I've done this a couple times. In fact, I've just stopped going and talking about customer data because you can't show it. Another thing that I'd say, another thing kind of I don't have an outline here. I'm kind of just thinking. Another thing is, going and giving customer testimonies. Customer testimonies of products when you go around and give things. Again, customer testimonies are not thought leadership. They're customer testimonies. Okay? They're just customer testimonies. And it's just showing that the customer has successfully implemented a product in a project. And either they did it with the standard product. That's usually not the case. Okay? It's usually customized in some way. And the problem has been customized to a certain point that the others can't customize it. Or they'll have to pay money to customize it. And what it is you're just talking about, what you did with a product. Again, that's product marketing. It's not thought leadership. You have to think about what is thought leadership. It's kind of just this, like it said, it's a cool sounding term. And 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 now I only use it, and I do use it for the things I do. Um, where I've got a list of topics that have nothing to do with my products, the internal products I work on, or internal projects. Nothing to do with those. I got a long list with a title and abstract, and they're about how to help others to be able to uh, be efficient and to be, um, you know, to be successful in what they do, but not for two people in the conference. It's for every single person in the conference. These are things that as many people as can identify with it and can replicate it. Um, and the whole goal is for all of them to be able to walk away from there and to be able to do something with it and to feel like they got something that they can use on a daily basis. And it's no more, it has nothing to do with, um, you know, uh, uh, here's my internal project or product thing. It's not that. And I'm not doing it for any, like I said, marks on the totem pole. I'm not going to get any promotions for these things. And it's hard enough to get travel budget to even go do these things because they're not talking about the company or the products or whatever you do. And for that, I don't care because when I'm doing thought leadership, I'm not going and talking about products and projects. Okay. Um, I'm doing thought leadership. And this is what's going to benefit the people. Now, if we want me to do, if I'm like in an internal R&D team, and we want me to do thought leadership under the kind of or we actually want me to do product marketing under the kind of the name of thought leadership. Well, we're not paying me enough, okay? We're not paying me enough to do this because then I'm doing marketing and sales. And I'll tell you, I made more doing that before. so, um, so really, it comes down to is what do you want? Um, and I'm kind of being provocative here, and I can do this because I'm making these little series of videos, just kind of do some thought leadership stuff. What do you want to call this? Sharing tips and tricks and stuff. And I just think what's valuable to people, and not the product marketing. Now, if you've got, I'm serious. Okay, if you've got something, the thing is when you build these products, you get people going to buy it. But this is all sales, okay? But hey, if I can talk about things that people can use, with their iPhone every day, or their Android phone, and they can do efficient things. That's thought leadership because I'm showing them the things that they've already got, and they don't have to get another tool or something to do it. Or if I can show them, things that they can kind of reverse engineer things with things they've already got, and tools like the whole Microsoft, Office set of tools. Most people have that. Okay, some don't, but most people have. So if I can show them tips and tricks how to use that to be able to speed up like that's thought leadership. Okay, because I'm not trying to sell them a product; they've already got the thing. Um, so that's kind of my thoughts on thought leadership. Feel free to make comments and blast me if you want. It's okay. Hey, we're debating over very subjective terms here. That's fine. And thanks for taking the time to listen and for your comments about my thoughts on thought leadership.